We're moving on to our next segment, which is really having Joe Keefe, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Pax World Funds, who will introduce our lunchtime speakers. So, Joe, it's over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're a little behind, so our lunchtime speakers are more like our dessert time speakers, but we'll proceed. I could just tell you, having been involved in several of these WEPs meetings over the last few years, that the difference is just palpable. The number of stories, the best practices that have been shared, the collaboration, the various strategies for implementation in country after country, company after company around the world is just extraordinary. So congratulations to all of our speakers, and thank you so much to the very talented secretariat we have, the team at UN Women and the Global Compact, and to all the friends and colleagues who have helped put this together. This meeting is just, it just gets better every year, and this is just been an extraordinary 2 days. I'm very excited about the next few hours as well, particularly this next session, which is called Stories from the Front Lines, Women Leading Businesses. And we're going to hear from two women, our two speakers, Erica Karp, founder and chief executive officer of Cornerstone Capital, and Archana Bhatnagar, managing director of Haylide Chemicals. And these are two women who really epitomize taking on the challenges of breaking through in a male-dominated world. Their paths have not been simple. They have not been easy at all. They really are women who, we talk a lot about opportunities and challenges. These are two women who really have converted challenges into opportunities. And I think at the program's conclusion, you're going to get the chance to ask them a few questions. So let's welcome first Archana, who is a first-generation entrepreneur who started her career with less than $10. Tell that to Silicon Valley here in the United States. She's established 3 manufacturing businesses characterized by being green and being sustainable. She is a stupendous multitasker, I understand, and exemplifies a commitment to both sustainable business and entrepreneurship and advancing gender equality. It's a privilege to welcome Archana to the stage. Thank you, Archana.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. How are we feeling after lunch? Sleepy? No? Well, if I'm going to catch anyone napping out here, it's not going to be easy. I'm going to look at you all, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, a very big good afternoon. I congratulate the WEPs team for having stories from the front line. Having come from the Army background, it translates for me into something like Army combating soldiers on the front, creating safety and growth for their countrymen. I feel that we early women entrepreneurs did the same. We fought our way up the system, up the gender discrimination, for all of us to come to the stage of having these dialogues and women empowerment principles, and especially a better environment for women entrepreneurs today. When I started in 1979 in India, the word entrepreneur was little known. Women entrepreneurs did not exist. So I talk to you today is about resilience and learnings from the challenges of being a woman and my failures. I did not know the ABC of business, the A of accounts, the B of business, or the C of costing. With less than $10 in my pocket, and that's a fact, in that time it was 500 rupees, and a 1-year-old son, all I had was the technical and moral support of my husband, only 1,000 kilometers away, with a weekly letter and a telephone in the neighbor's house, which I could use once a fortnight. Imagine a life like that. But that's where we started from. My first product, the X-ray developer, worked. I was surprised. And next, my husband asked me to apply for a loan. I was horrified. My father, an army officer, had taught me never ever to borrow money. And gosh, and here I was to apply for a loan. But guess what? When I approached the banks thought likewise. And I was royally thrown out from the banks, saying, "You're a woman. What do you know about business? What the hell? You think you're going to be able to run a business?" But believe me, ladies, that was the challenge, which really has me here today in front of you. My husband advised me, thank you. My husband advised me to raise better margin money for the banks by recovering silver from waste hypofixer solution, which was being thrown down the drains, and have money. That I call resourcefulness. Armed with silver money and a male business partner. Please note, a male business partner. I secured a bank loan of a meager $1,000 by mortgaging my in-laws' property of $100,000. But I had taken calculated risks. I traveled the length and breadth of the country in second-class rail, armed with my now 2-year-old toddler, and dealt with the ever-growing concern of my in-laws, would my business run? That even I didn't know, but run I did. Keeping startup expenses low, the perseverant and persistent attitude helped my industry to flourish. Business was picking up. My husband and my male partner both left their jobs and joined me full-time. Business and family grows. My second son is born. Bringing up 2 sons and working full-time, I realized that the same challenges were being faced by my employees, and especially the women who needed equal opportunities to grow. So post-lunch, my office changed into a creche, with many children, along with my sons, completing their homework or dozing off on the office couch. It was a scene to be seen. I had an office family. I'm proud to say, if my 2 sons have graduated as lawyers and engineers, girls of my labor class production people are also lawyers, engineers, and army officers. So I felt that was a huge thing that we tried and did for inclusive growth, or taking the women and the girl child along. And we did it most naturally. You know, I'm talking about all this today, but then it just came as a natural instinct to a woman. And that's what I feel, that a woman can do much more for her own colleagues and her own employees. That is there. However, my business was growing rapidly. Customers and press coverage were in an appreciation mode because women did not exist in as entrepreneurs. And then the male ego took its toll. No, it was not my husband, but my male partner, business partner, who could not handle a strong woman in business. Suddenly, I was told that my family needed me more than my business. After all, the place of a woman was in her family. And an Indian woman rarely set out of the house. After 12 years of giving all I had to my business, traveling the length and breadth of the company with a 1-year-old son, feeding him on a fresh milk diet and everything, I had done my bit. So I was not required. Business was growing and I was not needed anymore. My life was made so miserable that after 12 years of giving all I had to my industry, I was forced to walk out of my own office and business, which I had built. I was heartbroken and down, not being allowed to take a single penny of my capital or a single employee. As my male business partner put it very clearly, either we split or we carry on. When my husband had the option of making the family run. So the 2 of them continued the business without me as a woman. But guess what? My business partner gave me the parting challenge of starting a new business if I had the guts, which should have nothing to do with my old business. Guts I had. With the support again of my husband and 2 young sons. sorry. In 1992, I started a new business of manufacturing photo color processing chemicals. Haylide Chemicals was born. Armed with degrees of experience, it was an absolutely new world. I could take the bankers head on, and I was confident of doing. If I had done one business, I could do another. He was amazed. In those days, still nobody gave a loan without a mortgage. But believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I had a loan without a single penny mortgage. The ability to take my own business decisions saw it soaring to new heights. Haylide Chemicals was to compete with the likes of Kodak, Fuji, Konica. I introduced incentives like foreign trips for distributors. Life was colorful, and I was riding the high seas. Till the MNCs decided to weed out small competition like us. Globalization took its toll. For color photography, Kodak and their likes started giving free chemicals if the clients used their equipment film paper for photography. And guess what? Nothing is cheaper than free. Being versatile and resourceful was the need of the hour. So what did I do? I started reaching out to faraway and rural markets, thinking that the MNCs were not reaching there, and I would be able to sell there. Unfortunately, this resulted in high marketing costs, low turnovers, heavy losses. That was negative resourcefulness. But one thing that I stood up was I never let my bank account and loans go bad. My goodwill and business integrity was never at stake. Lesson learned. Never ever sell in desperation. You stand to lose your entire money. But I was in the dumps, morally and financially. I had lost for the second time. When in pain, help the way. I decided then to help other many micro women entrepreneurs grow with the lessons that I had learned of being a woman and experiences of failures, which are most essential to eventually succeed. Thus, MAVI, Madhya Pradesh Association of Women Entrepreneurs, established in 2000, now supports thousands of women entrepreneurs across the country to be self-employed and access international markets. That, I feel, was my success in my failures. And guess what? This time around, there was one more major thing that happened. The Chamber of Commerce locally thought that I was doing a very good job and I was a successful entrepreneur, whatever. And the body there, and I was the senior vice president, decided to make me the president. Okay, so we are to have an AGM. And there was no election process, it was by mutual consent. The day we were to have the AGM, I go up there, I have people, but guess what? 80% of the members did not turn up. And we had to dissolve the House because they refused to be led by a woman president. And that was something which again gave me a challenge of making MAVI grow to a level which is today, I'm proud that we have members, delegations, international, national, everything. Anyway, the last of the thing, the spirit of entrepreneurship never dies. Third time around, the big idea came again to manufacture value-added products. So green, eco-friendly chemicals for cleaning, sanitizing, for housekeeping, personal care, kitchens, laundries, in the B2B model were started, using the same old premises, machines, and employees. My one-year-old son, now a chemical engineer, joined forces with me, infusing youthful ideas and his technology. Using in-house strengths and finance from my husband again, Haylide Chemicals within 5 years built up a brand new spanking factory with world-class facilities for exports and domestic market, introducing revolutionary first-time products like green laundry and green washroom products. Haylide Chemicals today is a vendor to the big global brands and exports as well. However, my passion of giving better opportunities to women saw me fighting with my production managers to give permanent employment in my new factory to all the totally uneducated women laborers who had worked to build this factory of mine under label contractors. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to my factory to see how these morally and physically abused women today are some of the best skilled workers at Haylide Chemicals. I was shocked to see one of them assisting the lab technician in the chemistry lab, asking for a pH value. Need I say more? To conclude, I wish to state that all of us have gathered here to work on strategies for the women empowerment principles, to give the required thrust to women for, if not more, at least equal opportunities in business and the workplace. Out of the many suggestions that come to mind, I would like to stress only on 2 points. 1, let us share and adapt best practices and policies from all leading developing countries who are helping women entrepreneurs grow and succeed at a rapid pace. I feel we at India and the Ministry of MSME and NSIC have much to share of our policies, and WEPs can play an active role for advocacy of these policies in other regions. 2, my strong appeal to the real doers in this room. UN Global Compact, UN Women, ITC, We Connect, and many others can keep facilitating these meaningful, healthy dialogues. But finally, it is our honored corporate partners who can make this happen. Each one of you heading the supplier diversity wants more buying from the women-owned enterprises. Is that true? Yes? Good. But it does not meet our combined expectations. I would be failing in my duty if, with honesty, I were not to point out the gaps from my own personal experience of trying to sell to all of you. The intent to source from women-owned enterprises is not spelled out in writing and with force to your outsourced partners. Operations does not have the time to implement change. Procurement tries to drive the process, but it gets stuck between the actual user or the outsourced agency of the corporate. Empanelment of women vendors needs to be simplified, and so on. There are many things, but I need to conclude. Ladies and gentlemen, goals are set for 2130, but let us not wait for 2130 for the gender parity to be achieved. I'm sure with our combined efforts, we can beat the race to 2130. Thank you for your time.
Wow. That was moving, inspiring, unsettling, but very, very beautiful and powerful. Thank you, Archana.